Hello everyone. I hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful day. Today we'll be doing the second basic educational video, which will be how to draw a trend line. So we've learned that a candlestick has an open and a close price, and that the wick of a candlestick is basically the highest point within a trend. So if we are interpreting these candlesticks as such, then that means that in here we'll have a high, a low, a lower high. Remember, we're turning previous support into new resistance, a low, and here we try to turn the old support into new resistance again. We fail to create a newer low and we break out to the upside. So now what you can do in this situation is you can draw something called a trend line. So basically, we've learned that a trend, let's say a downward trend, always makes lower lows and lower highs. So you start at the given price point, you create a low, then a lower high, you create a new resistance, you break the lows, and that's how you continue a downtrend, right? You push, 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 and at some point you create a new high, and then you reverse the trend and you go the other way. So now what we can do is we can draw in a trend line in order to help us read a trend. So what you'll do is you'll connect the highs to each other. We use a tool called the trend line. You can also use Alt and T or Command and T if you're on a MacBook. And then you can use that to connect the highs to each other. So in here, I'll use the magnet mode and I'll be connected to the first high, then I'll connect it to the second high, and that's how you draw a trend line. So now what we can do with this is when you draw a trend line, it can be a form of support and resistance. So last video we learned that you can have a horizontal support and resistance, right? In here you have a horizontal support line, and in here you have a diagonal support line. So now if we look at this support or this trend line, we can see if we zoom into a lower time frame that not every time it is respected as a resistance, because at this specific moment right here we break it, right? We break it. Usually you can come back to retest it and then you continue the trend, but we can see that in here we have a touch, in here we have a touch, and in here we are respecting the trend line again. So it can be a support or resistance line. So now let's test this another time, right? Let's use the ray tool this time, which basically helps you to have a infinite trend line. So a ray would of course be infinite, and then I have a high right here. You can see it if I zoom in. Then the second high is right here. And watch what happens when we see the trend line. So I just created a bearish trend line. We can see we have a high right here, a push down, a lower high right here, a push down. Then we try to create a lower high once again, and then we start to break above the trend line. So this is supposed to be our high. Then we break that specific high right here. We break it at this level and at this level, and then we retest the trend line right here. And then afterwards, this can signal to you that we are not trending downwards anymore. We are not trying to continue this bearish trend, but in fact, we are reversing it, because we are not creating a lower high, but we are creating a higher high. And then we break above the trend line, we respect it as new support, and then we start an uptrend. This is how you use trend lines in your analysis. So basically, to summarize, you have an uptrend and you're trying to connect these higher lows with each other, and in a downtrend you're trying to connect the lower highs with each other. And if you use this within your analyses and if you test it, you'll see that it can help you build a better vision in the markets. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.